Thanks for coming to another ACF Chat Fridays. It's our monthly office hours with the ACF team. We've got Matt Shaw, Anthony Pachel from the engineers, and Mike from the content team. We do this every month. We record it, we stick it on YouTube, we do a blog post, we do a catch-up post with all of the questions and things that you can always look at if you don't make the sessions. In terms of, let's just do a quick ACF news recap. We are currently running the annual survey, so the 2025 annual survey. Let me just put some stuff in the link. So this is the link to the survey page, and this is the direct survey link that you can get to. This is the third year we've done the annual survey. If you have 5 odd minutes to spare, it would be really good to fill it out, and we'd really appreciate the help. It gives us insights into how people are using ACF, what they're building with ACF, how they're using fields, features, all that sort of stuff, but also WordPress. So it's good to kind of, especially now this is our third year, to start to see some trends of how people are using the block editor, the full site editor, types of features within ACF, in just general WordPress development. So yeah, we would be eternally grateful if you do get a chance to fill that out. What else is new? We shipped this week the first release candidate for ACF 6.5. So that is the next major version, which is really good news. So 6.5 is close to being released, but obviously, as we have been doing typically now for the last few release candidates, last few major releases, sorry, if we either put out a beta version and a release candidate, and this is just a release candidate. So please go and test if you can. That's the link to the blog post. It's very much a flexible content field heavy release. The flexible content field is obviously something that is in ACF Pro. It's a field that's pretty powerful. Not everybody uses it, but I know there are some people who they build their sites with the flexible content field. It's a way to kind of create layouts that clients can have control over and drag around and choose what layouts they need. It's control with not too much control. So yeah, it's very much a favorite way of people building almost like a page builder layout. And so this release is focused on the editing experience for content editors when they are using the flexible content field that has been created by the developers. So yeah, there's 4 main features. We've now got the ability to rename layouts once they've been added to a page. So if you've got a layout, for example, like a grid that you might use for features, but you might have multiple instances of that layout. Now those content editors can actually rename and say, well, this is the primary features. This is the grid of testimonials, and gives them the context they need, so they don't have to sort of go, oh, grid. Which one am I clicking to edit now? Because I just don't know what actually that content is. So it's much more contextual info, so they can rename them. You can now also disable layouts. And when you disable a layout, it won't appear in the front end using the loop of functions to render the layout, but it will still appear in the editor. So you can kind of turn them off, but you don't lose the data. You don't have to delete them, which is what previously you would have had to have done, which is kind of handy in certain situations, depending on the layout. We've also got a really handy focus mode that when you're editing a field in a layout, the layout itself looks slightly different and looks more, it draws your attention to knowing what you're actually editing right now. Because if you built a flexible content field for layouts for like a page builder, you can have a lot of layouts. It gets messy. It's hard to know where you are on the page. So this is really handy for content editors. And another really kind of small but powerful quality of life, you now have buttons to expand all layouts or collapse all layouts. So you can quickly just close things, open the ones you want, might have been renamed, so it's helpful to understand which one it is. Click it open, you killed everything else and it's been collapsed. So those are some editing experiences that are now improved. But we've got some other bug fixes in the blog, in the release. So check out the blog post. What else have we got? And basically, please go and test. If you are using the flexible content field, try not to do it on production, but if you have time to do it on a staging site or development site, that'd be amazing. We've also got this, in case anyone didn't know that the release went out from Twitter or whatever, this is the email list to subscribe to for beta news. So we'll send emails whenever we release an alpha version, a beta version, a release candidate version, anything like pre-release, we'll send you an email. So subscribe there if you're not already. And of course, Once 6.5's out the door, we will be working towards the next major releases. We've still got ready to release that are still being worked on, but we'll need some more work. Is ACF Blocks version 3, making it compatible with a lot of newer WordPress block editor features. Really improving, I think we've done a demo as well, improving the sidebar experience, editing fields in blocks in the sidebar. And then we've got the big feature coming, which is inline editing of features, or sorry, inline editing of fields in ACF blocks. So really improving that sort of the native editing experience of a block, being able to click into a preview in preview mode and just edit text inline rather than having to turn it to the form. So that's stuff that's coming. And the sooner obviously we get 6.5 out the door, the sooner we can move on to that stuff. So yeah, today we haven't got any topic planned. We've not got a demo actually, so this is just a typical Q&A, but there's not a huge amount of people in the chat. So feel free to stick a question in the chat box or even the Q&A, or just unmute and go for it. And we can always see how we go. If we've not got many questions, we can wrap it up. But yeah, good to see everyone. And yeah, if you've got some questions, feel free. Don't know if we've got any flexible content field developers in the house. Maybe everybody's more of a block editor builder from now on, but yeah, hopefully the release will go down well with most folks. Brian, yeah, you've asking in the chat. You're a block editor, developer building block editor sites. Yeah, Blocks v3 is planned, and as I said, inline editing. A lot of that stuff is kind of, especially the v3, is foundational to then improve other features. Inline editing is the big one that is planned. We're obviously still, whatever happens, we're always trying to be reactive to things that happen, like from customer requests, things that happen in WordPress core, things that happen in the web in general, things like AI that are going on. We kind of need to be fluid. So we haven't got too much planned, but equally I'd want to know what's important to you, maybe from a block building perspective. Is there anything that's that you feel's missing? Is there anything we've maybe talked about before that's not come yet? Yeah, what would make life easier for you? And yeah, feel free to unmute if you want, and we can chat away. Looking at our internal roadmap. Anything else I can share? Oh, yeah, Brian. Okay, yeah, because you not very easy to speak at the moment. You've put some ideas on the board. Yeah, that's a good shout as well. We have got this product feedback board that is, probably do mention it every time, but just in case people don't know. So it's advancedcustomfields.com/feedback, and it is a board where you can submit ideas for features, improvements, or whatever you would like to see in the product. But you can also see what other people are adding, and you can vote on that, just so it allows us to see what's becoming more popular. But yeah, the product variation stuff, that's been hanging around for a while. I know we've talked about that before. I think we've got to do some more investigation on that, and we're obviously waiting to see how people are also requesting that. There's no sort of concrete news on that. I was going to say the other thing that actually did come up, maybe in a conversation with a user the other day, and we were talking about it internally around blocks specifically. And this isn't a promise of what we're doing, but we've definitely been talking about it in terms of it being a helpful functionality. Is that At the moment, when you create a block, you have to do a block.json. You also have to create a field group for if the block has fields, and you go and do that in the UI, or you might have to create the UI and make a JSON for that field group. But those two things are like really linked, but they are not linked in the sense that they're two different ways of building, and one's in one JSON, one's in the database. But having fields that can be defined and added to the block.json so their blocks themselves are more portable is something that we're definitely considering and kind of like trying to investigate from a technical point of view and what's the best way to do that. And I think that would help builders that are building sites with lots of blocks. Maybe those blocks get used across different projects and making those blocks even more portable, right? Not having to like import and export field groups between environments, for example, because they stick with the block.json and they stick with that block that might get pushed through to like version control and then deployed that way through environments. So the fields are much more portable and easier to update and deploy and share across projects as well as environments. So yeah, curious to know if that might be something that you do. How do you both, or how do you guys deal with fields and blocks, field definitions?
I think what's kind of funny, Ian, is that for the longest time, AI would recommend putting field groups in block.json as if that was just the thing that worked. And I think what's kind of funny to think about is that it probably is caught up to understand that you don't do that, and then we're gonna drop that feature, and it's gonna be confused for like a week or two.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a great example of like a hallucination that is actually like points you in the right
Yeah,
direction
it's
of
not
like
wrong.
it
It's a great
seems like
idea.
it's yeah, exactly. It seems like it should be like that. So why not make it like that? Yeah.
Yeah. So we got a response from Brian here.
Yeah, we have our template blocks that we develop and then adjust, create new ones. Nothing that's bothering us too much at the moment, but that's probably just getting used to the way too much that we've, yeah. Yeah, that I think it will be, I mean, it won't change the way you can create blocks and the field groups the way you have done in the past. And obviously if developers have got kind of like their power workflows, then that won't be interrupted. It will just be a quicker way to do things. So yeah, that'll be something that hopefully will be coming soon. Any more questions? Any more comments? Um any more things they want to bring up? Thanks, Brian. Yeah, great. Great. Keep going. Yes, we definitely are keeping going. We are yeah, very excited to bring out some of the new stuff and excited to keep keep delivering value to everyone. I guess just to slightly change gears a little bit. I mean, this is a conversation I'm having a lot, or we're having a lot, just in general, because AI, you cannot ignore it right now. It's big. It's kind of like the thing. And from a development point of view, is there anything like that everybody's doing and using AI for to kind of improve their workflows? And it not necessarily just like ACF specifically, but from a WordPress development point of view, is there anything that, um, yeah, any kind of like nuggets of info people can share of what they're doing with AI just to make their development life easier?
And this is great for the feedback board too, if you can't type all that up right now. So,
Yeah, especially yeah, exactly if it relates to ACF and like the pain points of an older workflow in ACF need to be improved, then like hearing where that pain point is really helpful, I think. Yeah, Brian, you're saying you're using GitHub Copilot and VS Code and works quite well. Does that do you use it as well for things like, create me a field group or you know, create me something that interacts with ACF, or is that just in general with WordPress and PHP?
I'd be curious too, like all because like the one that I keep thinking of is like when you type in a field group name, being able to just like automatically figure out what type that is. That seems like something that would be like low-hanging fruit, but I don't know if it's something that people want. It's just like the obvious thing that like first thing that you could do in the interface that I think of. But yeah. Um, PHP
Yeah,
general fields, create over UI, same for CPT. Yeah.
yeah, I think and that is a good idea. And we're because at the moment, like when you're a developer and you're creating sites and you're creating blocks or you're creating field groups, there's some things in ACF and in general in WordPress where you're clicking and especially when it comes to field schema definition and custom post type stuff, you're having to click through, add. The field group editor can be, depending on the amount of fields you've got, can take a while. There's a lot of clicking. And that's probably a really good use case for AI, just to be like the smart suggestions stuff, the
That and then like
creating.
discovering fields you don't normally use, like maybe you're using a field incorrectly or not incorrectly, but in a way that just makes it harder. Like maybe you're using I don't know, range field for something that doesn't need to be a range, that kind of thing. Or the date and
Yeah.
time and the using a date and then maybe some people are using a number to represent time, that kind of stuff. It avoids those patterns that could get you stuck or just
Yeah, this
pocket data.
Well, yeah, because you could definitely use AI as a sort of an intelligent, like, diagnoser of problems. Like you've used this field key numerous times, and it's going to cause, data duplication or data crossover. Or yeah, you look like you're storing years in a number field. Would you like to use a date picker that's formatted like this or that kind of, yeah? Sound like the most unhelpful person with
Yeah, Clippy, super
Clippy,
Clippy.
exactly, a British Clippy.
I,
Hey,
I think
it
I think
looks like.
like the way I think of these kind of features is I don't want it to be very like we don't need a face for this kind of stuff. Like it just should be helpful and I don't think it should be something that you don't notice because like I always want to know when things are happening with AI processing it, but it is one of those things that like it should feel smooth.
Yes, exactly. It needs to be an assistive experience that's like helpful but not in your face. And yeah, I think that's 100% the way I think about AI in general, not just like if we put it into like what we would do with ACF, but like your own workflows. It's got to just enhance your workflow rather than be like, oh God, this is something totally different now that I have to like get out of the way or yeah.
Yeah, I mean a good example just in our day-to-day in dev is like I can tell I use Claude to generate a local JSON of the fields that I worked on in a certain task. But like while I'm developing, I'll often use the exact same field and change parameters so that I can test different states. So when I usually export that out, it's in one of the states that I had to do dev for, but not all of the states. So being able to be like, here's a diff, here's all of the things, give me local JSON of all the instances that need to be tested with this. And that speeds things up already just for us, like in
Yeah.
development.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, there's just like so many sort of shortcuts that you can do to make life easier. Like that blog post, the release candidate blog post, the screenshots, the GIFs, everything that was done from it was just like I created a flexible content field, I created some layouts, and then I exported that to JSON and said to ChatGPT, look, these are my fields for my layouts for this page builder. Give me some dummy data because like it's so hard just to sort of sit
Yeah.
down and think of a demo site and be like, right,
Just
okay,
yeah, getting started, demo data, that kind of stuff. That's where I find it most useful. I don't want it to take over, but I do want it to get me started faster.
exactly. Yeah, yeah. Nice. Although I didn't expect this to be an AI discussion, but we could probably do a whole session on AI, like just from a like come and talk about what things you do and people can learn from it because
I
there's
would
definitely
love
going
to
to
have
be
a
people.
listening session on how our users are using AI. That'd be cool.
Yeah. Yeah, because it is definitely something. Like there will be people that haven't dipped a toe into it yet from a development point of view, and there'll be people that are, been using it for months and months and months. And there's so much you can learn, I think, from just like a doing point of view, and there's so much we can learn from a product point of view, I think, as well. So yeah,
Yeah,
maybe we'll
we just
schedule that in a proper session.
yeah, and I think it'd be interesting. It's really cool to think that some people it might be their first experience with AI might be through, something that we could deliver. That's a fun idea to think about.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. And kind of if you deliver things that are in that what as you described that are non-intrusive, but they're seamless and they are helpful, then that experience is going to be positive, isn't it? Because you're like, oh, yeah, I actually see this application of AI and it's really helped me. I like AI. Like, yeah,
Yeah,
I
that's
like
the
our new
ultimate.
overlords. Yeah, nice. Alrighty, I guess, yeah, I don't want us to um, waffle on too much, but unless there's anything else in the chat, I think we could probably wrap it up early. So maybe last call for any questions or any comments, and everyone could get some time back. But yeah, thanks for coming, everyone else. I'll give some typing time just in case. Alrighty. Well,
When's our next
yeah,
one? Our next
yeah.
Friday?
It is in a month's time. So when are we?
Okay.
Where are we now? God, it's August already. It's crazy. I don't like doing it monthly because it's suddenly just
Because then now you're
time.
catching all the months changing, huh?
Yeah, and every time I'm going to be like, oh my God, we're in August. Oh my God, we're in September. But yeah, it'll be the 5th of September. That is right. That's in the diary, or in the calendar, should I say? And yeah, we will, um, as I said before, we'll put the blog post up, the video, and I'll get the next one scheduled. So yeah, well, thank you very much for coming, everyone. Enjoy your weekend, and see you next month. See you guys.